Once upon a time, deep within a dense, ancient forest, where giant oak trees stretched their thick branches to veil the entire sky, there sat a black crow, perched upon the very highest bough. Today was a remarkably lucky day for the crow. After spending the whole morning soaring over the nearby villages, he had scavenged a truly magnificent prize, a large wedge of cheese, golden, rich, and beautifully fragrant. You see, for a mere crow, this cheese was not just a hearty meal. No, it was a symbol of triumph and pure luxury. The crow clamped the cheese firmly in his beak. His jet-black feathers glistened brilliantly under the sunlight. He looked down upon the world below with absolute arrogance. In his mind, he was flying high on his own vanity. Look at them. In this entire forest, is there anyone as clever and fortunate as I? Those tiny sparrows and finches, they spend their days pecking at dry corn and worms. But me? I possess a gourmet treasure. The crow decided not to eat it just yet. He wanted to remain at the highest peak, to savor his victory, and to make anyone passing by look up at him with burning envy and jealousy. However, the world has a funny rule. Pride always invites trouble. And the crow's trouble today went by the name of fox. From the thickets below, a moist, sharp nose poked out, sniffing the air. The fox had caught the scent of that rich cheese from 100 meters away. His empty belly let out a loud rumble. He crept out silently, lifting his narrow, cunning eyes toward the oak tree. When he saw the golden cheese sitting proudly in the crow's beak, the fox's mouth began to water. The fox knew very well. The crow was too high up, and he himself could not climb. Use brute force? Impossible. Scare him? The crow would just spread his wings and fly away. The fox rolled his eyes. A sinister, clever smile crept onto his face. He whispered to himself, "Well, if my claws cannot reach him, then I shall use my sharpest weapon of all, my tongue." The fox approached the base of the tree, sat back on his hind legs, and looked up at the crow with eyes full of fake, exaggerated adoration. He began to speak, a voice like pure honey, pouring directly into the crow's ears. "Oh, greetings, most noble Sir Crow. The sky is breathtakingly blue today, but surely nothing illuminates this entire forest quite like your magnificent presence. I was merely passing by, but my feet refused to move, completely captivated by your elegance." Hearing the call, the crow tilted his head down. He was rather surprised. Usually the forest animals mocked him for being an omen of bad luck, with a dull coat and a hideous croak. No one had ever called him noble before. The crow was ecstatic. Yet he kept his beak clamped tightly around the cheese, offering only a proud, condescending nod. Seeing that the crow was taking the bait, the fox poured on even heavier, sweeter words. He moved closer to the trunk, his voice trembling, as if he were genuinely moved to tears. "Sir Crow, just look at yourself. Oh, your plumage. It is no ordinary black. It is the deep color of jade, the shade of a mysterious night. sparkling like the finest royal velvet. Your aura is so profoundly majestic. Standing on that branch, you look exactly like a king ruling over his empire. The crow listened, closing his eyes in sheer bliss. He began to rouse his neck, deliberately fanning his wings to show off his feathers in the sun. His tiny brain was now completely blinded by ego. He forgot that the fox was the most deceitful creature in the woods. But the fox knew this wasn't enough to make the crow open his mouth. He needed the ultimate push. He took a deep breath and let out a heavy, tragic sigh. But alas, how cruel is Mother Nature. Rumor has it that while your beauty is unmatched, your voice is rather unpleasant. I refuse to believe it. A royal being like you, with such a flawless physique, must have a song that outshines the nightingale, even the phoenix. If only I could hear you utter just a single note, so that I may fall to my knees and crown you the emperor of all birds. How I wish I could hear that heavenly voice just once in my life. The fox's provocation hit the crow's fatal weakness, his desperate need for praise. The crow thought, "What? They dare say my voice is unpleasant? I will show this fox and this entire forest that my song is a masterpiece of fine art." Vanity had blinded his eyes, covered his ears, and stolen the very last drop of his common sense. He completely forgot about the cheese in his beak. The crow craned his neck, puffed out his chest, and took a deep breath to deliver his heavenly song. And then, caw! Caw! The very instant the crow's beak snapped open, the beautiful, rich, delicious cheese slipped from his grasp, tumbling down from the high branch. Below, the fox had calculated everything down to the millimeter. With a single, flawless motion, the fox opened his jaws wide and caught the cheese perfectly as it fell. The fox devoured the prize with pure delight. Meanwhile, up on the branch, the crow froze. His next croak died in his throat. He stared in absolute horror at his empty beak, then looked down at the ground. His precious cheese was completely gone, swallowed down the fox's throat. After licking the remaining cheese crumbs off its snout, the fox looked up at the crow, who stood there dazed, his face clouded over with bitter regret and sheer humiliation. The fox didn't turn to leave just yet. It offered one last thank you, no longer with flattery, but with a scoff of pure mockery. "Thank you, my dear Sir Crow, for such a wonderful lunch. As for your voice, well, I heard it, and it is indeed deafening. But on the bright side, your cheese tastes exquisite. To return the favor, let me give you a free piece of advice. In this world, flatterers always live at the expense of those who listen to them. Remember that. Next time, keep your beak shut, Your Majesty." With that, the fox wagged his tail and happily vanished into the deep forest, leaving the crow all alone on his cold, bare branch. My dear friends, the story of the crow and the fox ended long ago, but its lesson remains timeless. In life, sincere compliments are medicine for the soul, but sweet, excessive flattery is almost always a trap. beautifully disguised. A flatterer does not care about you. They are only hungry for the cheese you hold. Therefore, when met with sweet talk, keep a cold head and a guarded heart, so that you will never have to pay a price as heavy as the crow did today. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, and see you next time.